Hey there, YouTube. Today I'd like to talk about a game called League of Legends, aka LOL. It's a game I've been playing on and off since it released, basically. It released out of open beta, I believe, in October 2009. The first time I ever played was 2010, I believe the beginning of the year. So it's been quite a while. I've uploaded plenty of matches that I've played just to give people an idea on how the game is played and everything. And, you know, if you like to watch people play games, then yeah, you should definitely check out those videos. But in this video, I would like to just give a background on the game and how it's played verbally rather than you just seeing me play a match. So I hope you enjoy it. The game is played on a PC. It could be Windows or Mac. I believe they have a Mac client, so it's for pretty much everybody. It's not too hard graphics wise. I mean, my computer is quite a few years old and it runs it just fine. Some people with really older machines might have a problem with it, but all you need to do is upgrade maybe your graphics card, maybe your processor. I'd say it's worth it. It's a pretty good game. It's become a lot more popular now in the past 2 or 3 years, though, I'd say, compared to when I first started. It's a lot different. And they're constantly doing updates to make it easier on older machines, so you might not need to upgrade your computer to play it. It all depends on your specifications. But anyways, to start off, you make an account. That's your summoner profile. And you work your way on getting to level 30 by doing matches. There's boosts in the game to help you get it quicker. Experience points boost, which you can buy with Riot Points, which is the in-game currency that you have to pay cash for. But you can use it to buy stuff in games like champion skins. Skins just change the looks of the champions. Nothing major. You can buy experience point boosts, like I said. You can buy influence points boost. Influence points being shortened for IP, Riot Points is RP. Just the acronym right there. Influence points let you unlock champions and runes and rune pages. But I'll get into that later. So you work your way from 1, where you start off at, to 30. 30 being the max level. And at level 30 you can play ranked games. There's 6 different rankings. Bronze. And then there's bronze 1 through 5, divisions. Silver 1 through 5. Gold 1 through 5. Platinum 1 through 5. Diamond 1 through 5. And Challenger. You start off basically at bronze and you try to work your way up. Challenger being the highest for only the best of players. That's where people usually wind up becoming pro at. And when you become pro, you can play in tournaments all over the world. I believe it is worldwide by now. And play for cash prizes, which is pretty nice. I really just play for fun, just to mess around and have fun with friends. Not looking to go pro or anything like that. That takes way too much time. And I've already invested enough time in this game as it is, not trying to do any more to get to that level. But if you're really into that, then I recommend this game for sure. If you're a competitive gamer or anything like that, definitely. Before a match begins, you get the champion selection. That's where both teams pick their champions. In ranked mode, it takes turns, and you get an opportunity to ban some champions as well, which are ones that I guess you don't want to fight them. You can ban them, so the enemy team can't pick them, or your team can't pick them either, which is fine. It's fair. And in ranked and draft mode, you take turns picking champions. So whatever team bans first, the team captain, first of all, does the banning. Whatever team bans first gets first pick of their champion. And then the other team gets to pick 2. Then the first team gets to pick 2. Then the other team picks 2. And then 1. And then 1. And you get it. So on and so on. And then after that, there's the loading screen. Then the match begins. Now the meta, or however you want to call it, that's what people usually call it. I don't know why, where that word came from in this situation, is an AD carry and a support bot lane. There's 3 lanes in the map of Summoner's Rift, which is the main map that people play on, and there's a jungle. So the AD carry and support go bot lane. The support's job is basically to protect the AD carry and to harass the enemy AD carry and protect theirs, of course, and do whatever they can by warding, which is to give vision of the map. You should know what fog of war is if you've played any RTS game or anything like that. But then, of course, there's mid. Mid is usually an AP carry. AP stands for ability power, which means they use magic damage. Top is usually a fighter or a tank, sometimes an assassin. Tank's job is mainly a defensive one. They usually have a lot of health, armor, magic resistance, and defensive abilities to protect the rest of their team, and they just soak up the damage, really, their front line. Fighters are somewhat like tanks, but they're more so in the middle. They're slightly more offensive and less defensive, and their job really is to just do as much damage as they can and also soak up some damage as well, so they're also in the front line, but after the tank, of course. Assassin's job, they're an easier target because they're not as defensive. They're almost completely offensive. Their abilities are based on just doing as much damage as possible and trying to escape. And of course, out of those lanes, there's one more that I mentioned. That was the jungle. In the jungle, it could be either a tank, a fighter, an assassin, whoever you want to pick. And their job is to clear the neutral monsters in the jungle to get levels up in experience and to gank lanes, which means to appear out of the jungle and try to go for a kill and help their teammates if they're behind, and to prevent the enemy jungler from ganking as well. That's called counter jungling. You go into the enemy jungle, steal their monsters, try to kill the enemy jungle, set up targets. Basically every lane, every role, position, whatever you want to call it, requires some form of strategy. And of course, since this game's mostly 5-on-5, it requires a lot of teamwork if you want to be successful. That's for sure. So if you really like games of teamwork, strategy, and that you think you can be good at those 2 things, then definitely I would recommend League of Legends once again. Unfortunately, this game is quite fun sometimes, but the community of the game, the players, are the ones who bring it down. There's what I like to call the AFKers. They're the ones who just leave a match, go AFK, away from keyboard, to do whatever they like, I guess, for whatever reason they can't play, which puts you down a person, which is never helpful. 4 versus 5 is annoying, and if more people even decide to leave the match, that puts you even more behind. Say a 3 versus 5, that's disgusting. It's not even worth trying it sometimes. You're just too far behind. But if people have to leave a match for important reasons, emergencies, it's fine. It happens. This is life. We can't put a game before important situations. But it is quite frustrating to the people that are left in the match trying their hardest to win. But after all, it is just a game. Then, of course, there's the people who disconnect due to things like their internet or they lag, which is really horrible because they just put their rest of their team behind and themselves because they're not able to play correctly. Everything is slowed down. They can't aim. They get killed. They move slow. Everything is just ridiculous. So sometimes playing with a bad internet connection isn't the best thing to do, especially if you want your team to be really pissed off at you. Or if you have something to do and you know you don't have enough time to finish a match, don't start one. You just get your team all riled up for no reason. And angry words get expressed most of the time because a lot of these players are children or they're immature. They can't handle losing in a video game, which is sad, but Some people just can't help it. They get frustrated. We all have problems. It's alright. Then, of course, there's just the people who downright just suck at the game, which is a lot of them. But once again, it's something you just need to practice. I try not to get angry at people at all just because they're unskilled. I mean, that's ridiculous. If they practice enough, anyone can do this. It's just a game. Practice makes perfect. Or so the saying goes. I've played for quite a while, and I've seen many horrible players and many great players. The skill gap in this game actually is pretty huge. There's players that do things that are so amazing you would never have thought of in years. And then, of course, you have the opposite. Players who do the dumbest moves that you also wouldn't have thought of because they're just that bad. And you see a lot of those too. Especially if you're playing ranked and you're in the lower divisions, like bronze and silver. Sometimes gold, But of course, anyone can make mistakes, even if they're highly ranked. Because there's so many outside forces that have to be correct in order for you to play well. But we all know how that goes, I'm sure. But back to the laning. When the match starts, everyone goes to their lanes after buying items, of course. Top, mid, jungle, bottom. 1, 1, 2, 1 being the jungle. And you have the minions that spawn, aka creeps, or whatever people want to call them. They push the waves, and killing them gives you experience. Well, them dying gives you experience. Getting a last hit on them gives you gold. You need gold to buy items, of course, so that's very important to the last hit. They push the waves, and they take the damage from the turrets for you, because turrets do massive damage, and you don't want to tank them at all, especially early game. That's a no-no. The objective is to just keep pushing your lane, pushing it. Of course, being very mindful of ganks from the enemy jungler, or from the mid, if they decide to roam. Or if anyone in that match has teleport, which is a spell that lets you teleport to a minion or a ward or a turret or anything like that, as long as you have vision, of course. So you push your lane, you take down a turret. Each lane has 3 turrets. Top has 3, mid has 3, bottom has 3. Behind the third turret in each lane, there's an inhibitor. After the inhibitor, there's a nexus. The nexus is protected by 2 turrets. And then where you spawn at, there's I guess you can call it the nexus turret, spawn turret, whatever you want to call it. It does instant damage, kills you, so you never want to go there to the enemy spawn. That's a bad idea. But the objective, of course, is to destroy nexus. Usually by pushing down all the turrets. Definitely the 2 nexus turrets, because you can't even damage it with those being up. And you can't damage it if there's an inhibitor up. So you have to take down at least 1. But both bases have 3. And then, of course, there's also some other objectives. In the middle of the map, there's a river. On one side and on the other side. And then, in the middle of that river, there's mid lane. Near the top lane, there's Baron Nashor, which is a neutral monster. If you kill it, you get a buff. Gives you attack damage, gives you ability power, and massive health and mana regen. So it is very useful because it goes to your whole team. And near bottom lane is a dragon. Just killing dragon just gives your whole team some extra gold, which is always nice as well. And these are also objectives the enemy team will fight over, so you have to make sure you time them well. The game has built-in timers, so if you kill it or you were there when it dies, the timer resets so you know when it comes back. That's just something they recently added. Before that, you had to either write it down or just manually remember it, which was quite annoying. Some people just use a different program or app on the phone that could time it, but I just did it mentally and tried to remember. And if I didn't, then of course someone else on the team would. But anyways, all in all, League of Legends, aka LOL, it's a pretty good game. Like I said, it's free. If you want to spend money on it, you could buy Riot Points, which just lets you buy skins, which just change the champion's style. That's about it. Not really worth it in my idea. Not for me at all, but some people are really into that. Or you can use the Riot Points to buy champions, which of course you can just buy with influence points, so that's not really necessary. But yeah, the game's pretty good. I mean, if you're into online gaming, PC gaming, free-to-play games, teamwork-based games, strategy-based games, anything with those concepts in it, I'd say League of Legends is a pretty good go. I've met some pretty interesting people on it, and they're mainly the reason I still even play to this day, honestly. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and happy gaming.